So it's been a very busy couple of days here with lambing. So we'll start off, it's Saturday morning, it's 4 degrees out right now. I did my 3 a.m. check on the cameras, didn't see anything happening. I ended up getting up about 5, checking the cameras, and I could hear a ewe that was in labor. Got dressed, got out here to the barn, and that's when I found this ewe. She was over there in the corner over there. She was over there, had one lamb down behind her. The second lamb was over here in between the 2 feeders. I ended up getting both lambs, getting this jug set up for them. So once I got her here in the jug with the 2 lambs, I put down some straw for her, got it pretty thick, that way these lambs could warm up. And I went ahead and did my morning feeding just to keep all the rest of the ewes busy and calm them down because they were all getting pretty loud. I got in here to process the lambs. I went through. There's a ram lamb and a ewe lamb. The ram lamb's 12 pounds. The ewe lamb is 9 pounds. I started drying them off. That ram lamb, he was up and moving around, but he was really shivering a lot. It's about 4 degrees, like I said today. He was cold to the touch where he was wet. He was up. He had a suck reflex. So I just decided to go ahead and set up the warming tub here and get it plugged in and get them both in there once I had them processed and dried off, because I figured it'd be a lot easier if I just start going ahead and getting them warm now. They've been in here about 20-ish minutes so far, and they're both standing up now. They're not really shivering. They're in there. I might even dry them off again. The ewe has been hanging out outside of the warming jug right here, checking them out. One's already starting to come out, which is a good sign. That is, I believe, the ewe lamb, already starting to come out. And that's coming out on its own. I just went ahead and plugged in this heating tub just because, with as cold as it is outside, as cold as everything is around it, I figured it'd be just a little bit easier to go ahead and warm them up right from the start. This ewe has a ton of milk. She had lambs for us last year. She, is a good mother. So I wasn't really too worried because she was able to watch me the whole time getting them there in the jug. They're still a little wet there on the legs and stuff. So I'm sure that she's still checking them out. She's cleaning it off still pretty good. So I'm hoping this works out and really helps jumpstart these lambs. So I walked back out in the barn to check on those lambs that were born this morning to see how they were doing. I was getting ready to run up to the feed mill real quick to pick up a load of feed, and I just wanted to check on these guys before I went. And I noticed that I had another ewe that was in labor, and she looked like she might be having a little bit of issues. I can see a nose and its front 2 feet there. I might have to just slap on a pair of gloves and jump in and help her out real quick. But I just walked into the barn to grab a pallet to go feed. She was just standing up, water bag exposed. I'm giving her a second to see if she can do it on her own. But it looks like I'm probably just gonna have to go ahead and grab my gloves and give it a hand. So this is that ewe's first set of lambs. What I ended up doing was going ahead and just making a makeshift jug up here on the end of these other ones, putting down some straw in it. I had to actually sort her off with gates just because she didn't want anything to do with me, didn't want me around her. Once I got her in the jug, it was pretty easy. I was able to just reach up, give it a little bit of a pull. That thing's pretty good size with a good size head on it. Pulled it, she was having no issues, licking it, acted normal. And I didn't really want to do anything right then, give her space because like I said, it's her first time having lambs. They get a little weird sometimes, a little, either cautious and they get standoffish from the lamb or they get a little too defensive. So I just got out of the jug, watching her for a little bit. About 5 minutes later, I noticed another set of hooves had presented themselves, but these were backwards and I was looking at the bottom of the hoof. So that lamb was in there, coming out feet first backwards on its belly. So I just reached up, gave it a little bit of a pull, From outside the jug even, lamb plopped right out. These are two good sized lambs. This ewe is really licking on them, really taking good care of them. I waited about half hour or so out here in the barn before I dried these guys off or anything, processed them, just because with her being a first-time mom, I wanted her to really lay claim to these lambs. She's been licking on them the whole time, making sure there's straw around them, doing a really good job with that, so I figured it was time to go ahead and get in there and process them. So this ewe and our two lambs here, one weighs 14 pounds, the other weighs 11 pounds. No, one's a ewe lamb. I didn't even look at the other one I was processing. I had the towel laying over it because I was drying it off. They seem to be doing pretty good. She has plenty of milk. She's letting them get underneath of her. And like I said, with them being first-time moms, we wanted to keep a really good eye on her just because. Here's the ones that were born this morning. There's the one that was really cold this morning that I kept putting back in the heating barrel here. He come out on his own. He gets milk from mom on his own. I think they like being out here by the mom. She likes them out here better, I know. She sits right there and makes noise. There's the other one. They seem to be doing okay. She hasn't covered up. I have plenty of straw in here for them, and they seem to be doing pretty good. So these are the two lambs that originally needed that heat lamp set up in here for them. They seem to be doing really good. They really like that heat lamp. They started really springing back into action. Rachel continued to bottle feed this one for probably 2 or 3 days more this week, maybe even more. And actually last night she came out to give it a bottle and it wouldn't take any, had a warm mouth, and she actually watched it run over and get underneath mom. I've seen him get underneath mom today and get milk, so things have worked out pretty good in that situation. That's one reason we don't like just pulling the lamb, if we could avoid it, off of the ewe and take it and bottle feed it outside of the jug. Because we still hope that the ewe would still accept this lamb and it would figure things out on its own, and it seemed to have worked out pretty good. So then we come to this ewe. About 8:30, 9 o'clock, Rachel was checking the cameras Thursday morning, noticed that this ewe was in labor. By the time she got out here in the barn, it had already had this lamb. Rachel ended up just bringing them over here in this jug that we had set up for him. She had the lamb right about there, and noticed that this ewe was still showing signs of active labor. Checked her out, and she had a stillborn lamb that was only about 4 pounds. In there still. You know, sometimes that happens. It's nice that she had this healthy lamb and she's taking great care of it. You know, who knows why that happened. You know, everything else seemed to be okay with her. And then Friday morning at about 6 a.m., I was out here wrapping up feeding, and I noticed this girl here started really going into labor. So we got her in here in the jug. I got it set up. Rachel got her in the jug and took care of getting these two lambs pulled. This is our registered Suffolk Willow. This is the ewe that we purchased back in the beginning of July. These two lambs, she had two ewe lambs. Really nice, both weighing 9 pounds each. She's taking really good care of them. She's gonna end up staying here in the jug another night just because these two have had their time over here. That's why we're gonna get them moved over here into the nursery area. But I'm gonna give her another night with these two lambs just because of how cold it is. This ewe lamb seems to be just doing fine, always curling up and relaxing. This one gets milk, lays down for a little bit, and then wants to get up, move around a lot. And, you know, with it being so cold today, I think that chills it out. Then it'll lay down for about a half hour, get up, move around again. Not really sure why it's doing that, but so far, really happy to get two ewe lambs out of her and our registered ram Maverick. So that way, these two ewe lambs, as long as they develop and we like what we see as they're growing, can return to our flock as two more registered Suffolk ewes. Now, originally my plan was, you know, this ewe had her lambs early this morning. I was going to go ahead and process the two ewes on the ends with their lambs, you know, tag them, band their tails, and get them moved over into our nursery area. I expanded that and made it a little bit bigger so there's plenty of room for it. And then that way they would open up these two jugs down here in the end. So I went ahead and banded and tagged those lambs and moved them and their ewes over into the nursery area. I tried to record it, but with the temperature, my camera wouldn't stay powered on. Anytime I hit record, it was just so cold, the battery wasn't handling it. But I needed to get those guys moved over into the nursery that afternoon because after looking at the calendar, I had a lot of ewes marked that would be due in the next 48 hours, and I knew I was going to need the space in the lambing jugs for them if they had their lambs because it was going to be cold over the next few days. Well, that'll wrap this one up. Thanks for watching.